Hello and welcome to my YouTube series on Flying Tackle and Eve. I'm Mad Crafter, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your UI. So I've created a brand new character, and we're going to take the default Eve UI and turn it from something that is clunky and disorganized into something that is clean and easy to use. I'm just going to close the tutorial window here, and then we're going to bring up the game options by hitting the escape key. The first thing I'm going to do is switch the game from full screen mode into fixed window. What this does is it keeps the appearance of full screen mode but the functionality of windowed mode. So you can alt tab out easily or use programs on a second monitor. This is almost necessary if you're multi-boxing or doing anything on a second monitor at all. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the UI scaling down to 90%. This will allow us to fit more things on the screen at the same time. And then I'm going to turn off camera shakes as well. I find those really annoying, and it actually makes stuff in space harder to click on. Next, I'm going to go over to General Settings, and the first thing we're going to click on here is Only Stack Windows if Shift is pressed. This will prevent accidentally stacking windows, which can be quite annoying at times. Next, I'm going to check the box that says to match the theme to the active ship. If you fly a lot of different races, this helps to give some variety to the Eve UI. It has no functional application. It's purely cosmetic, but I like to do it. If you don't fly very many races of ships, this probably won't make much of a difference to you. The last thing that I'm going to do is to disable window blur. This will help us to see through these windows so we can see what's behind them and nothing is obscured. Now we're going to save these changes. The Eve window will flicker a little, and we'll say yes, we want to rescale our UI. Now the first thing I'm going to do is close that I opened up by accident, and we're going to move the station services window and resize it a little. It's not that important, but we're going to move other stuff on where that was. Now we're going to take local chat. Local is an important intelligence tool, and we need to see who is in local at all times. So we're going to move that down here, and then we're going to make it really tall and skinny. We don't care what people are typing in local, so it doesn't need to be wide, but we need to see who is there. We're also going to go to the channel settings and set compact member list. This will let us see a lot more people in local at the same time. Okay, we're going to pin this so we can see through it easier, and then we're going to take the remainder chat windows and put them in the bottom right, and we're going to make them a little bit bigger because we actually care what people in these chat channels have to say. Now we're going to undock our ship and start setting up our in-space UI. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our selected items window and move it over there out of the way for now, and we're going to make our overview a lot bigger so we can see as much as possible on the overview. That's going to fill up with more stuff soon. Next, we're going to just lock up the station, make sure our locked items are appearing in the right spot, which they are. And now we're going to right click the three bars on our overview and choose Open Overview Settings. Then we're going to go to the Miscellaneous tab and Import Overview Settings. And I'll have a link to my overview settings in the description below. But we're going to import these now, and that will set up everything about our overview to a tackle-friendly setting. So first we have the main tab. This will be the one we use most of the time. The utility tab is something that you can change out on the fly to whatever you need at the moment. The ships tab is if you're at a gate camp or any time where you just need to see hostile ships, that's all it will show. So you can lock targets as fast as possible. The first thing on that overview is what you lock. The next tab is for drones. Sometimes you just need to kill those pesky drones, and this will allow you to target them easily. The last tab is for warping out. If you need to get out to somewhere, this will give you a wide variety of options to get out to. Now the columns I have here, the first one is distance. The second one is the name. The name's not that important, but it's nice to see. The type is a lot more important than the name. You can see what type of ships there are, like we just see this Mackinac that just warped into the station. Also, the velocity is next. The velocity is pretty important. You need to know how fast a fleet is moving. If someone's trying to chase you down, you need to know if they're faster or slower than you. The next column is for alliance. You need to know what alliance people are in. This will give you a really good, quick way of telling what alliance everybody is in. If you don't fight alliances very often, but instead fight corporations, you can change that option in the overview settings under columns. Just clear the check next to alliance and check corporations instead. The last column isn't very important. It's more of an advanced one, but it's there if you need it. Now we're going to change out some of our neocomp buttons. Some of these buttons aren't very useful, and we'll get rid of some of the ones that don't get used very often and some of the ones that do. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the fitting button. If you need to access it in space, you can do it with Alt F, and there's a fitting button in the station services windows when you're docked, so you don't need that on the neocom. The next one we're going to remove is industry. Most people don't use that, so we're going to remove it. We're going to keep corporation. It doesn't show anything useful because I'm in the noob corporation right now. We're also going to remove map because that's an easy hotkey to remember. It's just F10. You're going to use it quite a bit, especially if you're scouting for a fleet. So you're going to have that one memorized real quick. The next one we're going to remove is ISIS. This gives an overview of all the ships in the game. It's not something that we need to access quickly. We're also going to remove the new it in store. We don't need that one. The tutorial, it won't let us remove because we're new, but we're also going to remove help. Next, we're going to look at some to add. First one we're going to add is the browser. We're going to need that a lot for doing descans of fleets. The next one we're going to add is contracts. A lot of alliances and other groups have pre-fit ships on contracts that all you have to do is buy them and load the guns and fly the ship. So that's going to be used a lot by a lot of people. Now here you can see someone in our corp just warped to the station, and you'll notice that they don't show up on our overview. So you can't have accidental friendly fires, at least not from your overview. The last one we're going to add is the fleet button. And we're going to open up the fleet window right away so we can move that into position. This is something that you'll need in almost every fleet. And we're actually going to join this guy's fleet. It's a mining fleet, so we're going to join his fleet so we can set up the rest of our windows. Now we're just going to add someone to the watch list so we can bring up that window and move it into place as well. Now we're just going to move things up a little bit higher so we can make our watch list a little bit bigger in case we need a big watch list. Now we're going to go to the History tab. And here we're going to set our filter to Broadcast History. Then we're going to right-click the three bars and go to Broadcast Settings. From this list, we're going to remove Broadcast for Need Armor, Need Capacitor, and Need Shields. You don't need to see those as tackle, and they'll just get in the way. And we'll apply colors to all the broadcasts that we care about. I'm putting colors on the ones that we excluded for the times that I do fly Logi. Now the rest of these we're not going to apply a color to because we don't need to identify them quickly, and they're really not all that important. Now to set up our drone window, we're going to have to dock up and buy a drone, so we'll do that real quick. We'll move our drone window right into this little space here. It's going to be a little bit bigger than you'll need for most frigates. This is for when you get into ships that can have multiple flights of drones. You still have space to see all the different flights as well as what drones are in space. So this will be useful when you're flying ships like Ishtars or even carriers. We'll just go ahead and pin all these windows so we can see through them. Now the last window we're going to set up is going to be our directional scanning window. But first we're going to set up the camera for it. So we're going to click down here and we're going to go to center tracking camera, and this will center the tracking camera around the center of our ship, so that if we go over to the overview and click on something, our camera is pointed straight at us. And what that'll allow us to do, if we bring up the directional scanner here, just going to bring it over to the side here. We could also stack the system scanner in the same spot, but we're going to take our angle scan and turn it down to 5 degrees, and that will show us what is at that particular celestial. If we want to see a different one, we just click on it on the overview. So this way you can very quickly get an idea of where ships are inside the system. Now we're just going to go ahead and turn our tracking camera off again, and if you want to turn it on again, you just click that same button and it'll turn the tracking camera on. It'll point your camera at whatever you select in the overview. Now you can see this gives you a really clean UI. You can see all the information you need to very quickly, and you can also get a good view of what's happening on the fight. Now I'm also going to show you how to set up the modules on your HUD, but to do that I'm going to have to log in MadCrafter. Now when you first undock in a new ship you just fit out, your modules will probably look something like this, and it's not very useful, so we're going to fix that. And the first thing we're going to do is group our guns, but this is where a lot of people leave it. They might move a few of the modules around, but it's still not in a very useful state, and we're going to do a lot to improve that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take all the passive modules and move them off to the side here. We're not going to hide them because sometimes they can take heat damage. You notice my medium shield extender here, it's taken some heat damage, and if they were hidden I wouldn't know that and be able to repair it, so we're not going to hide them. You can hide them if you want, but if you do, then you just have to remember to show them every now and then so you can repair them if they need to. If they burn out, then you can't use them anymore until you dock and repair them at a station. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the guns and move them out of the prime F1 spot. In a tackle ship, your guns aren't very important. You don't need to access them quickly. So we're going to move them out of the way so we can put more important stuff there so we can access those quickly. Now we're going to take our damage control and move it over here. It's on the bottom row because it's not very important. You just kind of turn it on and then you can forget that you have it until you jump in a new system. I like to put modules that are on all the time on the bottom row down here, and then modules that are on some of the time, but you don't need to have quick access to them on the middle row here. And we're going to take our point and our scram and move them up into the F1 and F2 positions. Those are the most important things we can do as a tackle ship. And we're also going to move our mic warp drive up here because it is something that we need to have easy access to. So this will let us use the overview, lock onto targets, set our orbits without having to move our mouse all the way down the screen to the bottom to click on our points or our micro warp drive. So we have easy access to everything we need instantly. The less important stuff is still easily clicked on, and the passive modules are there but they're out of the way. And this leads for a very clean, easy to use HUD. Now if you have modules that you don't want to hit by accident, like sinos or dicta bubbles, you'll want to move them a little bit more over here. That way you don't accidentally fat finger them, but you still have easy access for them if you need to. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tell me what you would have done differently in the comments. Like this video if you think I did a good job, and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm MadCrafter, and I'll see you in the next video.